joining. Few more maybe.
Yep.
2 3 minutes.
Meanwhile, I can chant this Mangla Charan.
Yes, we can start. Yes, that's a good idea.
Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishbhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna everyone. We welcome you all for this evening Bhagavad Gita reading, and we have read till 35th shloka, and today we have 16 participants only till time. So we're going to start. Meanwhile, the people will be joining, and request you to raise your hands. Whoever want to read, they can raise their hands. And this Mangla Charan we are doing every time, and I have also requested everyone, if they are not having their hard copy of Bhagavad Gita, they can reach to us and ask us to send the Bhagavad Gita copy to you. And this Friday on 25th, Christmas Eve, usually people generally 25th December, they generally think it is a Christmas Eve. So on Christmas Eve, it is also Mokshada Ekadashi, when this Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. So we are also having this program in temple. So we'll discuss about this program later after the session. So the people who will be joining late, they can also get to know about this program. So till then, we have read that Arjuna is giving different type of excuses because he just don't want to fight, because he has seen his dear and near one in front of him, and he just don't want to fight, because this is, and very beautifully explained by His Grace Pancaratna Prabhu, that this is just because Arjuna is showing us the example of a jiva, how a jiva is very much attached to their family, society, nation, and so on. So, in this way, they are not able to concentrate on Krishna consciousness. They are actually always thinking of their sense gratification. Although Arjuna was not on that platform, Arjuna was a devotee of Krishna, but to show us how this external energy of Lord can distract us from our original goal, Lord Shri Krishna, and for not taking shelter of Krishna, we gave endless excuses. And that is what given by Arjuna, that I do not want this kind of uh, kingdom where no one is there to celebrate. I do not want to kill my near and dear ones. And at last he gives up the Gandiva and bow. And now from 36 shloka we are going to read. So uh, Asha Lataji, you can unmute and start reading. Meanwhile, just a minute. Uh, uh, I would request Keshav Prabhu to, if you can share the screen from 36th verse. Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. So, Asha Lataji, you can start reading from this 36th verse.
Yes, Prabhu. Papameva shrayadasman अन्वेत्वाना तथायिनः तस्मान्नार्हाय वयं हन्तु धार्तराष्ट्रान् बान्धवान् सबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्यामः माधव.
Translation.
Yeah. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? Can you just scroll, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
According to Vedic injunctions, there are 6 kinds of aggressors. 1, a poison giver. 2, one who gets fire to the house. 3, one who attacks with deadly weapons. 4, one who plunders riches. 5, one who occupies another's land. And 6, one who kidnaps a wife. Such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. Such killing of aggressors is quite befitting any ordinary man, but Arjuna was not an ordinary person. He was saintly, saintly by character, and therefore he wanted to deal with them in saintliness. This kind of saintliness, however, is not for Kshatriya. Although a responsible man in the administration of a state is required to be saintly, he should not be cowardly. For example, Lord Rama was so saintly that people even now are anxious to live in the kingdom of Lord Rama. But Lord Rama never showed any cowardice. Ravana was an aggressor against Rama because Ravana kidnapped Rama's wife Sita, but Lord Rama gave him sufficient lessons unparalleled in the history of the world. In Arjuna's case, however, one should consider the special type of aggressors, namely his own grandfather, own teacher, friends, sons, grandsons, etc. Because of them, Arjuna thought that he should not take the severe steps necessary against ordinary aggressors. Besides that, saintly persons are advised to forgive. Such injunctions for saintly persons are more important than any political emergency. Arjuna considered that rather than kill his own kinsmen for political reasons, it would be better to forgive them on grounds of religion and saintly behavior. He did not therefore consider such killing profitable simply for the matter of temporary bodily happiness. After all, kingdom and pleasures derived therefrom are not permanent, so why should he risk his life and eternal salvation by killing his own kinsmen? Arjuna's addressing of Krishna as Madhava, or the husband of the goddess of fortune, is also significant in this connection. He wanted to point out to Krishna that as the husband of the goddess of fortune, he should not induce Arjuna to take up a matter which would ultimately bring about misfortune. Krishna, however, never brings misfortune to anyone, to say nothing of his devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, I would request Pancharatna Prabhu. Here is said, sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. And here it is said that according to Vedic injection, there are such kind of aggressor, such aggressor are at once to be killed. But here it is said, sin will overcome us if we slay. So how do we understand this?
6 types of, in Padma Purana is mentioned, someone who's taking your property, someone who kidnaps the wife, takes your wealth. There's 6 types of aggressors. So all of these aggressors are not like that in this war. Some of them are just assisting on behalf of Duryodhana and supporting Duryodhana. But the problem is, these are not ordinary aggressors, as Prabhupada mentions. These are grandfathers and teachers and relatives. They're not ordinary, some stranger person who's come to your house to attack or take your property. It's not someone coming with a deadly weapon to attack you who's a stranger. They're all very well-known people. So Arjuna is considering that situation. So what he's right in his own way, although this is the Lord's plan. This battle is the Lord's plan. So then Arjuna should follow the plan of the Lord. But in actual situation, as he's saying, saintly persons, and not only saintly persons, but just people in general, should act and have some compassion. Not that we have to be against everybody who's against us. We can also be tolerant. I mean, Indian people are very tolerant. So it's a good practice. It's a good practice to have, to be like that. Not just with relatives, but with everyone. We should be very tolerant, and we should see the Lord's hand in everything. Not that we go to war and start a fight for every single thing that happens. So yes, there's great sin in killing, and this war is huge. So there's going to be a huge amount of killing. A lot of family members are left behind. So Arjuna is considering there's a great sin in doing that in a normal circumstance.
Thank you very much, Ruchi. So, Manvik, you can unmute yourself and start reading from this next verse, 1.37 and 38.
यद्यप्येते न पश्यन्ति लोभो पहत चेतसः कुलक्षया कृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकं कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः आपादस्मान्
I think so.
कृतं कुलक्ष्य कृतं दोषं प्रक्षया
Yeah, translation.
O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends. Why should we, who can see the crime in destroying their family, engage in these acts of sin? Purport: a Kshatriya is not supposed to refuse to battle or. Can you scroll down, Prabhu? Can you
Keshav
scroll
Prabhu,
down
can you please scroll down?
or gamble when he is so invited by some rival party? Under such an obligation, Arjuna could not refuse to fight because he had been challenged by the party of Duryodhana. In this connection, Arjuna considered that the other party might be blind to the effects of such a challenge. Arjuna, however, could see the evil consequences and could not accept the challenge. Obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but when the effect is otherwise, then no one can be bound. Considering all these pros and cons, Arjuna decided not to fight.
This is this concept of two wrongs don't make something right. Right? Just because someone's doing something wrong, then I can also do wrong because he's doing wrong. That doesn't make me right. I'm still doing wrong also. So Arjuna is saying like that, just because they want to fight and they're not thinking about the consequences of the fighting, it doesn't mean I should also do the same thing because I know the consequences. So therefore I should use my intelligence and I should not fight. He's giving this reasoning to the Lord, which is very much just in a normal situation in material world. We should be like that. Just because someone's doing something wrong doesn't mean I should also do something wrong. I should do right, actually. This is what he's explaining.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, next is Ritambara ji. You can unmute and start reading. Text 39.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kulkshe pranashyanti kuldharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam kutsnam dharmo bhivyatut. With the destruction of dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligious practice. In the system of the Varnashrama institution, there are many principles of religious traditions to help members of the family grow properly and attain spiritual values. The elder members are responsible for such purifying processes in the family, beginning from birth to death. But on the death of the elder members, such family traditions of purification may stop, and the remaining younger family members may develop irreligious habits and thereby lose their chance of spiritual salvation. Therefore, for no purpose should the elder members of the family be slain. Hare Krishna.
This is a good example of the Indian culture of joint family. And it really was such an important thing in joint families. Then you'd find the youngsters were there and the grandparents would give guidance to the grandchildren. It was such a holistic atmosphere. They would have that much respect. Sometimes you find the teenage children, they don't give too much respect to the parents. There's some friction maybe there, but if the grandparents are there, then everything becomes balanced. And we see society today, because of the nuclear families and the joint families idea has been given up for whatever reasons. Therefore, you find that there's a great lack of moral principles in society. Huge, I mean, we can see in India in the last even 5 years, such a change in the moral principles in society. It's a real challenge how to adjust that and how to rectify that. Joint family is such an important thing.
Thank you, Roji. So, Deepa Jaktani ji, you can unmute and start reading. Text 40.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
अधर्माभिभावत् कृष्ण प्रदुष्याति कुलस्त्रिय स्त्रीस्तु दुस्वास्तु वर्णस्य जयते वर्णशङ्करः. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of the womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. Purport. Good population in human society is the basic principle for peace, prosperity, and spiritual progress in life. The Varna Ashram religion's principles were so designed that the good population would prevail in society for the general spiritual progress of state and community. Such population depends on the chastity and faithfulness of its womanhood. As children are very prone to be misled, women are similarly very prone to degradation. Therefore, both children and women require protection by the elder members of the family. By being engaged in various religious practices, women will not be misled into adultery. According to Chanakya Pandita, women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. So the different family traditions of religious activities should always engage them, and thus their chastity and devotion will give birth to a good population eligible for participating in the Varnashram system. On the failure of such Varnashram dharma, naturally the women become free to act and mix with man, and thus adultery is indulged in at the risk of unwanted population. Irresponsible men also provoke adultery in society, and thus unwanted children flood the human race at the risk of war and pestilence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Very strong point Prabhupada is making. And the real point is he's saying that, oh Krishna, the women of the family become polluted degraded. It's not that the women become degraded, but when the family the family unit is not there, becomes broken down, unscrupulous men then have an opportunity to mislead and divide and perform adultery. Women are not the problem. Unscrupulous men are the problem. Prabhupada many times said like that. This whole thing, even this feminist idea, it's all coming from unscrupulous men. They want to break down. Women are basically chaste and, faithful and follow, and they're much easily, they're very simpler in that sense that they take things on face value, or they take up spiritual life much easier than men. They're not as complicated as men in many ways. But unscrupulous men, when the family unit is broken down, unscrupulous men, then they have that opportunity to diverge women and children. So
Thank you, Bruce. Neelam Soniji, you can unmute yourself and start reading from text 41. Just a minute, we need to unmute you.
Hare Krishna, am I audible?
Yeah.
Sakro narakayev kuldhanam kulasya च patanti pitro poshyaam dak kriya. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestor of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Purport. According to the rules and regulation of fruitive activities, there is need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by the worship of Vishnu, because eating the ramnuts of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kind of sinful reactions. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various type of sinful reactions cannot even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. Thus, the remnants of prasadam food are offered to the forefathers by descendants. The forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. One who is engaged in the devotional life is not required to perform such actions. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kind of misery. It is stated in the Bhagavatam, chapter 11, 5.41 verse. Devarshi Bhutapta Narnavam Pitranam Na Kinparo Nayam Rani Cha Ranjan Sarvatmana Ye Sarananam Sarayam Gato Mukundam Paritritya Kartam. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kind of obligation, and has taken the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties nor obligation to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. Such, such obligations are automatically fulfilled by the performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Discussing then, if the family unit breaks down and the women become corrupted by unscrupulous men, then becomes unwanted progeny in society. We see that especially in the West. There are so many children there born only from the mode of passion and ignorance. And then they themselves, they lead the life like that. Therefore, you find in the West, I mean, society's become insane. If you look at it in many ways, in some of these cities, it's become an insane situation. So this is what happens when the family unit breaks down. Then everything slowly breaks down. Prabhupada mentions then that then there's also the Shraddha ceremony that we perform, that it's in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas. In order for someone to be elevated to higher planetary systems, then their descendants will perform the Shraddha, and then they can remain in, and they can also advance in different planetary systems. So if there's no family unit, if there's no proper progeny, then there's no one performing the Shraddha. And then, of course, Prabhupada finishes off by mentioning that though someone who's fully engaged in devotional service, even he's not necessary to perform Shraddha. I mean, I don't think people are aware. People are offering oblations to the forefathers. You call the Pandit, he'll offer oblations. But actually speaking, it should be offering Vishnu Prasadam to the forefathers. That Prasadam is what's purifying to the forefathers. Just cooking something and offering it, it's not the same. It's not going to give that same purification. It should be Vishnu Prasad. And then you offer them and they get that blessing of that Prasadam, and then they're able to make advancement. So it's an important thing, this idea of that devotee, even though he's performing by performance of devotional service, he's able to liberate not only his own forefathers, but many generations, previous and future generations, by him becoming a devotee. So Prabhupada mentions like that, if you become serious in Krishna consciousness and you develop love for Krishna, then by your going back to Godhead, you may take so many generations of your forefathers before and in future may also get a free ticket back to Godhead by your level of devotion. So Srila Prabhupada is saying even higher than the Karma Kanda, higher than Shraddha is the performance of devotional service.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So it is so beautifully explained by Pancaratna Prabhu, because usually in India we know all about we all know this about Shraddha and all these things. So Prabhuji mentioned that we need to offer that Vishnu Prasad or Krishna Prasad, so that we can help our forefathers and our ancestors to go back home, back to Godhead. Wonderfully explained by Prabhuji. Uh, Narayani Mataji would request you to unmute and start reading.
Text 42.
Yes, text 42.
दोषेरेत कुलाघाननां वर्णशंकर कारक उच्छादयन्ते जाति धर्म कुल धर्मश्च शाश्वता. Dosha by such faults, eta, all these, kulaghanam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, you just need not to read word to word translation. It is just translation or purpose.
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. Purport: community projects for the four orders of human society, combined with family welfare activities as they are set forth by the institution of Sanatan Dharma or Varnashram Dharma, are designed to enable the human being to attain his ultimate salvation. Therefore, the breaking of the Sanatan Dharma tradition by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in that society, and consequently, people forget the aim of life, Vishnu. Such leaders are called blind, and persons who follow such leaders are sure to be led into chaos.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Next, I would like to, sorry, I'm just not asking the people who have raised their hand because they have already got the chance. So I'm actually randomly picking the person who are not taking this reading because of their shyness or something like that. So, Chitransh, you can unmute yourself and start reading.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
उत्सन्न कुल धर्माणाम मनुष्याणाम जनार्दन नरके नियतम वासो भवति सुश्रुमम.
Translation.
Arjuna bases his O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. Purports: Arjuna bases his argument not on his own personal experience but on what he has heard from the authorities. That is the way of receiving real knowledge. One cannot reach the real point of factual knowledge without being helped by the right person who is already established in that knowledge. There is a system in the Varnasma institution by which for his sinful activities. One who is always engaged in sinful activities must utilize the process of atonement called prayashchita. Without doing so, one surely will be transferred to hellish planets to undergo miserable lives as the result of sinful activities. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
So what do we do for all kinds of meaningful and accidental sinful activities in the material world? We are getting reaction. We are getting karma. We're getting karma for that. What do we do? What is the prayashchitta? It says here that for certain activities, if you perform, accidentally you kill a cow, or accidentally you have some sinful activity, then there's certain prescribed actions you have to take. Maybe you have to go to all the holy places in India. You have to take bath in a holy river. You have to do certain things. There's a prayaschitta for all kinds of actions, and we don't know what the prayaschitta, what are we supposed to do? We have no idea anymore. It's all being lost, right? So it's saying here, if you don't perform some prayaschitta for your actions, then you have to go to hell. And we don't even know what the prayaschitta is. If I drink alcohol, what am I supposed to do to counteract that? If I perform different activity, what am I supposed to do to counteract that? We have no idea. So what do? We just go down, we just glide down. Therefore, particularly Prabhupada is saying, therefore right now Lord Chaitanya has appeared, and there's only one prayaschitta that we have to do, is this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You take this mantra, and all previous karmas, prarabdha karma, aparabdha, everything is wiped out. Everything gets wiped out. Not only the karma for sinful activity, but even the desire to perform more karma, it is also wiped out. So we have special blessing just now, in this time, at this age, just now. We're in this period of time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Take advantage.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So would highly appreciate if you people can show your face on this, because we are not going to take any selfie over here. It would be really nice.
I see Miss Jalani's face there. She may like to read something. She speaks very good English.
Yeah. So yes, so many of you have actually opened up your cameras, and next would ask. No, you already have read. I just want to take people who have not read. So Sapna Mataji, you can start reading. Charanjit Gabaji. Hare Krishna. Anyways, so Shyam Chaturvedi ji, yes. Shyam Chaturvedi ji, you can unmute and start reading.
Hare Krishna. Ahobat papam kritam vyapsitavyam yad rajya sukat lobhen hantum swa janam udyat. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen. But driven by selfish motives, one may be inclined to such sinful acts as the killing of one's own brother, father, or mother. There are many such instances in the history of the world. But Arjuna, being a saintly devotee of the Lord, is always conscious of moral principles and therefore takes care to avoid such activities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Shyam Chaturvedi. Shyam Chaturvedi ji is very much enthusiastic. He's taking part into this Hindi Bhagavad Gita reading also, and today he is joined for this English Bhagavad Gita reading. So next 45, I would take.
Can I just ask why? Can I just ask why the screen is shared and then it clicks off and then back on screen shared and then back off screen shared? Why is it happening? Why can't we just keep it on the verse screen shared?
Yes, I need to ask Keshav. Keshav was doing the same.
Okay, we got it.
So I was asking Archana Chaudhary ji if you can unmute and start reading.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yadi mam pratikaram shastran shastrapadayah धार्तराष्ट्र रणे तन्मे क्षेमतरः भवेत्. प्रभु जी ट्रांसलेशन शो करिए. Please show the translation. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me, unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Purport. It is the custom according to Kshatriya fighting principle that an unarmed and unwilling foe should not be attacked. Arjun, however, decided that even if attacked by the enemy in such an awkward position, he would not fight. He did not consider how much the other party was bent upon fighting. All these symptoms are due to heartedness
Heartedness.
resulting from his being a great devotee of the Lord. Ji, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you very
Krishna.
much. Hare Krishna. I'm engaging all the people because it is actually interactive session and it is not one side speaking. So I just want to engage every one of you. So sorry for not taking permission and just right away asking to read. Would request Pancaratna Prabhu to give some insight on this shloka. Better for me to son of the trust open hand were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. What can you please elaborate, Prabhuji?
Yeah, Arjuna is obviously feeling very compassionate. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to get all kind of material gains. Rather than kill all these, better they just kill me and I don't have to get involved in this sinful activity of killing and fighting and warring. He doesn't want to be like this because he's a devotee. He's very compassionate. So he's not interested. That's all.
Okay.
He's having that. There is a sense of it that at the same time, he's not asking the question to the Lord, but you can see in the way that he's speaking these verses, he's speaking these that, I should not fight. It's very sinful. The forefathers there, the family unit gets broken down. He has that mood there, but at the same time, you can see there's a sense of him asking the Lord, please clarify. Please make me understand, because he knows that the Lord has arranged this war. So he's torn between the two. Why, in that sense, why have you arranged this war? It's very hellish. But yet, at the same time, he knows that's the Lord's wish. So that's also on his mind at the same time. So he's giving all these wonderful arguments. And it's true. Even our Mr. Narendra Modi has mentioned the Bhagavad Gita it is not just a religious book, but it is a book of moral values. Actually, it can be taught now in schools. We're teaching in Sweden. The government has made it legal law that the children have to learn Bhagavad Gita as moral principles and moral values. They study Gita. So Arjuna is giving all this moral context, but he's basically leading up to asking the Lord, please clarify, please make me understand, because these things are all true. And yet still you want a war. So it's interesting just leading up to.
And we can also relate, like I want to ask all the participants, we can relate from this that this is what happened to like most of us, at least to me, because we just don't want to do whatever is decided for us. We just want to run away from whatever is decided for us. We just want to take someone else's post, and this is what we are thinking all the time. So this is very much relative to us also, that we just don't want to do our duty, which is Arjuna is actually running away from. So this is last shloka of this chapter, and I would take now. It is easy for me when I can see the faces, so I can take the people. Girijala Seljaji, if you can unmute and start reading.
Sanjay Uvacha
एववक्त्वार्जुना सङ्ख्ये रथोपस्था उपानिषत् विसृज्य ससरं चापं शोकसंविघ्नमानसा.
Translation.
Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed
It's
with
great.
grief.
Purport.
While observing the situation of his enemy, Arjuna stood up on the chariot, but he was so afflicted with lamentation that he sat down
Lamentation.
again, setting aside his bow and arrows. Such a kind and soft-hearted person in the devotional service of the Lord is fit to receive self-knowledge. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports to the first.
So Prabhu, could you scroll down the screen?
Chapter
This
of
is,
the
go ahead.
First chapter. Yes, go ahead.
chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra.
Thank you very much.
So this Arjuna's at the point right now, he's at that point where we should be. We should be at that same point, wondering, why am I here? What am I doing? What is the situation? I mean, he's in the middle of a battlefield. We are also in the middle of our own battlefield. Maybe it's not two opposing armies that we're looking at, but we have so many distresses in life, and we have so many situations that are giving us happiness and causing us great distress at the same time. And so everybody comes to that point in their life where they finally sit down and think, what's going on? What do I do? And previous, the verse was saying that Arjuna is saying, I have so much experience of life, and by my own experience, I'm understanding so many things. But more than that, I have heard from authorities. I have heard so much knowledge from authority. So in the same way, we're also in our own battlefield. But rather than try and solve the situation ourselves, we need to take some authority. That authority is Bhagavad Gita. So just as Arjuna is sitting down and says, okay, I can't figure it out for myself. Please, my dear Lord, please explain to me. Please tell me. It comes to that point. Now, the friendship ceases to be, and the relationship becomes then spiritual master and disciple, the teacher and the disciple. The relationship begins to change. So the same with us, right? We think that we're controlling the world, and we're busy and we're successful. We're doing all wonderful things in the world. And then the Lord is with us in the heart as Paramatma, observing only. But finally, when the devotee gets to the point where he says, I can't do this alone, please guide me, then that relationship comes then of the disciple and the spiritual master. So Arjuna is right at that crossroad. That's where we're at, that same crossroad. That's why we're here and we're reading Bhagavad Gita, because we also have some feelings like that.
Thank you, Prabhu. So this is what we are going to discuss in this next chapter, chapter 2, content of Gita summarized. And Pancaratna Prabhu, is it okay to take this chapter 2, or we can ask people if they have any question regarding first chapter, so they can ask? So we'll start this from next week. It would be better for us.
Yes, definitely, because chapter 2 is huge and it covers every facet, every part of the Gita. It's the summary, so everything is there. So I think we should wait till next Sunday.
Okay. So meanwhile, if all the participants, I request all the participants, if you have any questions regarding this first chapter or regarding Bhagavad Gita, they can raise their hand and ask. We are having a Pancaratna Prabhu here. You can ask your question.
And we have some scores to read out as well, right?
Yes. Neelam Soniji is asking, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, why we call Sanatan Dharma as Varnashram Dharma?
Varnashram Dharma, of course, everybody knows the 4 varnas and the 4 ashrams. Of course, today it's broken down into casteism, but in actual fact, it is called Daivi Varnashram. It is supposed to be helping one elevate to a higher spiritual level. And therefore society should be managed like that. And then we find even somewhere you find structured Varnashram, but even if you go to communist countries, you still see the 4 Varnas, you still see the 4 ashrams. They are there in everywhere, in every country, whether they recognize them officially or not. So this is, in that sense, this is the Sanatan, this is the Dharma for everyone. It is the eternal Dharma. The eternal Dharma. Of course, our real eternal Dharma is the servant of Krishna. And by following Varnashram, it brings us to that point of becoming an eternal servant of the Lord. So in that sense, it is also the Sanatan Dharma. Strictly speaking, there, one is you can say a little bit lower level and one is a higher level. Varnashram will bring you to that higher level of Sanatan Dharma, recognizing everyone and everything.
So, is that question? Is that answer your question, Neelam Soniji? So we are having this list of winners who have given correct answer last week. So meanwhile, if anybody is also having any question, they can raise their hand and they can ask their question. I'm just reading the names who have given the right answer. First, I would announce the name who have given 1 right answer, then 2, 3, 4, and 5. So Jyotika Rajawat, Sharda Gauri Shankar, Nisha Gaurav Saxena, Puneet Joshi, Girjala Shalini, and Simpi. They have given 1 correct answer. Divya Ashish Dharu, Nemichan Seni, Khushbu SK Rajwanshi, Nemichan Seni. They have given 2 correct answers. Aryan Kumawat, Kamla Bajaj, Shalini Rajwanshi, Asha Lata. They have given 3 correct answers. Sundari Radhika, Madhav Mittal, Deepika Goyal, Vikas Dambale, Anuradha and Jyoti. They have given 4 correct answers. And we have most of the participants in this category of 5. So congratulations to all of you. Pramila Porwal, Mamta Soni, Radhesham Gupta, Renu, Baby Soni, Archana Chaudhary, Nandalal Soni, Charvi, Neha Sen, Kshitij Pachori, Mansi Keshwani, Dinesh Vanjani, Reena Agrawal, Charanjit Gaba, Manvik, Rekha, Sushma Sharma, Krishna Priya, Geeta Marwa, DS Baghela, Rama Soni Mataji, Rakesh Sharma ji, Rajkumari Gupta, Raksha Verma ji. So all are these are the names who have given 5 correct answers. So a big haribol to all of you, and congratulations, you are working very hard to give correct answers. Hare Krishna. And Pancharatna Prabhu would like to say something about this Mokshada Ekadashi. Because we are also having this program in temple, so Prabhuji, it would be better if you can announce and you can speak to the people what they can do and how they can come to the temple and they can also take part into this Bhagavad Gita reading.
It was not specifically Mokshada Ekadasi, though that is on the day, but specifically it's the Gita Jayanti day, the day that Lord Krishna officially spoke Gita to Arjuna and Kurukshetra. And this year in Kurukshetra itself, there's a very big yagya we're performing this year, very big yagya, and then reading full Bhagavad Gita. But this year is special also because we have linked up with many other religious institutions around India, different Hindu institutions, and not only every ISKCON temple, but many other temples and institutions also sitting down today on that day and reading the full Bhagavad Gita. It takes around 3 hours, three and a half hours, and reading through the whole Bhagavad Gita. So they're also doing this year, as well as we are also doing. So it's going to be amazing. You can come to the temple or you can come online on Zoom. We'll send a link. Lokeshwar Prabhu will send a link, or maybe it's already been sent, that you can log on and on Zoom, and you can log on to that link, and then you can register. Whoever registers for that, someone has sponsored Bhagavad Gita, so everybody gets a free Bhagavad Gita, and he's also giving a T-shirt, like a Rajasthani T-shirt with some camels on it or something like that. So whoever would like to come, if you want to come to the temple, you're most welcome. 9:30 in the morning we'll start, and it'll go through 3 hours. We'll chant right in front of the deities. We'll chant the full Bhagavad Gita. Very auspicious thing to do to add to your spiritual bank balance. And after that, then there'll be some prasadam for those who have registered. Only if you register. You need to register to get the Gita and the T-shirt and the prasadam. You need to register. Otherwise, everybody's welcome to sit with us and chant. So that's the main thing. 25th, 9:30 in the morning. Be there.
And yep, and it is also an opportunity because usually we are not having like holiday on that day, and it's 25th, so everybody is having holiday on that day, so everybody can come. And the most important thing is you need to register if you want a free Bhagavad Gita and also a T-shirt. So this is the most important thing. So you need to come at 9:30, and would be as Prabhu just said, it would be approx 3.5 hours program. So you can come and join us in this reciting of all 700 Bhagavad Gita verses, and also you will have an idea how to recite this verses, as many people are having trouble in reciting all these verses. So if you are going to come for this Bhagavad Gita Yagya, you can get to know that how to recite verses, as we are going to recite all the 700 verses in this Bhagavad Gita Jayanti. So thank you all very much who have joined this evening. Thank you very much.
One thing, just to mention also, if you're not able to come, for whatever reason, if you're not able to come on that day, but it'll also be on Zoom. So you can also join on Zoom and chant with us at home. And if you have registered on Zoom also, then we have 500 Gitas being sponsored. So up to 500, we'll also send a Bhagavad Gita and a T-shirt to your home if you've registered, even if you're on Zoom.
So is that answer your question, Ashalata Mataji? Because it was mentioned by Prabhuji that if you register, you'll get this in your home. And Deepa Jaktani ji is asking, is there any Tula Dan festivals is also there on that day?
It may start, yes, it may start on that day till the end of the month.
Okay.
It's been difficult because not many people are coming to a temple, not many people, but we've spoken with the police and they're quite happy, and they're saying, you go ahead. Even they're coming, one of the member from the Tana, he's also coming to chant Gita with us, so we're okay. So maybe we'll start Tuladan that day and for the next few days to the end of the month.
Okay, so Keshav Prabhu have actually posted the link in this chat box, and we are also going to post this link in our Bhagavad Gita reading group, so you can register yourself there. And Mrs. Khushbu Sharma is having a question, I guess. So yes, Khushbu Sharma ji, you can unmute and ask if you have any question or query.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a question with respect to chanting. Actually, I have just bought tulsi weeds for the chanting, but one of my closest relative has died before 5 days. So during this period, I should chant or not?
It's a very good question. Yes, the holy name is specifically recommended for the Kali Yuga. So there are no rules, there are no conditions. There is no condition. In previous times, one had to be even a Brahmana, one had to be completely purified. There were so many conditions that one had to have before he could engage in different types of puja. But the holy name of the Lord, there is no conditions, any time, any place, any circumstance. So it is most auspicious. It is most auspicious, and wherever its chanting is going on, no matter what the situation, it creates auspiciousness in any inauspicious situation. So it's the best thing to do, even in those sort of situations.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Neelam Soni Mataji is asking, is there any different link for the Zoom meeting? We'll be sharing that Zoom link also on the group on that same day. So you can also join from there if you are not able to come. So once again, I would really want to thank all of you for joining in. Thanks
For
a lot.
those that are registered, they'll get the Zoom link.
Yes.
Have to
So,
register.
yes. So Keshav Prabhu have already sent that link in Bhagavad Gita group as confirmed by Keshav Prabhu. So you can register yourself and you can come or you can join on Zoom link as well. Preeti Maz Sarkar. Yes, you can unmute if you have any question and quickly you can ask because we are already 5 minutes above. Preeti Maz Sarkar. You can ask.
Prabhuji, I want to ask one question. When we are chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and what is one round? Is it 108 times chanting Hare Krishna mantra? So this is a little bit confusing for me. Can you please clear that doubt?
Yes, Lokesh Prabhu, you can explain. Simple.
It is, yes, one round is chanting of Maha Mantra 108 times. So
Okay.
that is called one round.
Okay, fine. Okay.
It is not like if you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. It is one mantra, it is not one round. So you need to chant 108 times to complete your one round. Otherwise, it would be really easy for all of us who are chanting 16 rounds a day.
Okay, understood. It was my mistake. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
No problem. It is. Thank
It's
you very much.
It's good you ask questions. You're just like Arjuna asking questions to Krishna. So you're asking questions for yourself, but for everybody else's benefit
Thank
also.
you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much. Thanks a lot. We'll meet you on this Gita Jayanti, probably on Zoom and in temple also. And please register yourself. Thank you all very much. Bhagavad Gita Yatha Roop ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Hare. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.